This is Taigu and this is Tree Leaf. We're coming now to the following picture, which is Taming the Bull. And what you can see on that picture is clearly a young boy pulling the bull with a rope attached to the bull's neck. Not really pulling actually, because it's quite a loose connection. That's the one. You see? And this is traditionally a picture that describes discipline. How we have to give a form to our practice. How we have to give it a structure, a rhythm, a consistency, so it doesn't become loose. It's got to be up and steady. That's one way of looking at this picture. The other one, which is a bit off track, the other reading I like to put forward has nothing to do with discipline. You see, we don't really need to take the lead. We don't really need to guide practice. If we do so, we use practice in a certain way. And we may think that we get great benefits from practicing. We become balanced, much more, I would say, knowledgeable. We react differently to the world, or we are increasingly aware of reacting blindly, so we may have the opportunity to correct ourselves. We may feel some form of physical improvement. That's what some teachers claim. Practice is good for your health. The way it's good for your temperamental personality or for your not so healthy body. Practice would give you something, providing you lead the practice in a certain direction. Could be also a religious direction. Here in Japan, people make practice as a gate into a career. They come to Heiji Sojiji, they sit for a few years, they follow a very, very strict and disciplined training, and eventually they end up head of their father's temple, and they don't sit for the rest of their lives. So all these ways of using practice are ways of misusing practice, in my own understanding. You see, I don't think we need to sell Zazen, telling people it's good for you. I really much more like Sawaki's approach, which is, strictly speaking, Zazen is good for nothing. You're losing your time, baby. Just don't even try. Or if you wish, just come and take a seat, but don't expect anything else to happen. And that radical way of not just looking at Zazen, but also making Zazen a daily reality in your life is it. Now I suspect that among the crusaders, or the people very angry or willing to convert everybody else to their own view, within the ranks of these people, you'll find a lot of Zazen users, people that make use of practice rather than just allow themselves to fade away in the practice itself. This is also again a very dualistic picture. There's a boy, there's a little self, and there's the original self, and they are very obviously two, not one. Now in the next picture we'll see carefreeness starting to step into the scene when the boy plays the flute on top of the bull, not even paying attention where the bull goes. It's getting closer to that state of oneness, of not one, not two. That is really the core of our tradition. But in this particular case, making use of Zazen, making use of the Dharma, no. I mean, you may, but then you just restrict the Dharma. You make it very small. Up to you. You might just give it a go and see what it's like. We're not trying to improve ourselves. That's it. It's not a method of getting better, of developing ourselves in a different way. And many people come to religions, and particularly come to Buddhism, with a secret hope that it's going to fix things. Somehow the problems will be shifted, will fade away, will move, will be removed, and of course it doesn't happen. Problems are still living in me, in you, but our relationship to the problems is changing. We often develop more humor, more ease in front of the disease, more gentleness. We develop compassion, not just towards others, but towards ourselves. This compassion was discussed and talked about in a previous thread, and this is extremely important. We become caring, loving people, accepting our shortcomings rather than just struggling, fight them and get rid of them. And in the process of doing so, we're perfectly fine the way we are. So we don't try to turn ourselves into superheroes or supermen or women. We come to terms with the will to change, and we allow the change to take place by itself, and we surrender, truly surrender to practice. I am at the very beginning of this. I started more than 25 years ago, and I'm still very much a beginner, but just a thought really. Please, don't pull the bull. Don't give your practice a direction. Experience with open situations. Trungpa had a good way of putting it. He used to say something like, establish the Buddha Dharma without references, without reference points. Just give up the reference points, give up the goals, give up the idea of achieving something, and just see what happens. Allow things to open, blossom and go, and come back freely. But next time we explore the flute playing, the carefree mindset, which is, I think, an amazing way to play and be. Take care. It's been very serious and heated on the internet the last 2 weeks, and I think everybody needs a rest. So, happy sitting.